How's it going, guys? Randall, aka Shizucats, here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, here bringing you the latest expansion to the Quintessential Quintuplets. This is a set that has been pretty popular and part of the metagame ever since its release back in the first set. But now we have the third set for the Quintessential Quintuplets movie joining Weiss Schwarz, and in this set, we are going to be taking a look at some extremely powerful cards that can benefit both mixed decks that incorporate all 5 of the quintuplets, as well as a lot of really powerful waifu cards. So some of the waifu decks are actually just probably some of the most popular and powerful builds out of the Quintessential Quintuplets movie set, just based on the extremely high card quality out of some of the waifu cards. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the cards in this set and let you guys know what we feel is the stuff that you should be looking out for and what we think will be coming up in the upcoming metagame. So before we get into our booster boxes, of which we will be, of course, opening our standard 2 of, we, of course, have the beautiful case topper playmat. Since this is the Stitch Edge variety that comes with the sets that are not English originals, you will be getting one of these case topper playmats per sealed booster case of 18 booster boxes. Now, without further ado, let's get into our first box of Quint's movie. All right, let's get right into it. So for our ratios that you should be looking at in this set, it is a 10 RR set, just like the first 2, with each of the 5 quintuplets getting 2 RRs. And as for the foils, you should be looking to get 3 foils per booster box, since every single card in the set can come foil. This is a trend that we saw with other sets such as Hololive, where every card in that set could also come foil, and you got 3 foils in every booster box. As far as the high rarity variants, there are 3 possible that you can pull out of this set, which are the SSPs, the OFRs, and the Hanayomi rares. So the SSP and Hanayomi rare, you should be expecting to get 1 of each per sealed booster case. And for the OFRs, you should be expecting to get 2 per sealed booster case. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that we are looking forward to opening in this opening. So let's get right into it. For our first box, we have for our box topper promo the level 1 Itsuki. So she has an on attack, give 1500 power effect. And also, she can force both players to go down to 4 cards in memory. And Quintessential Quintuplets does have one of the 5 girls, Yotsuba, being a memory deck. So if you ever play Itsuki against Yotsuba, this could be a potentially useful card, but it's not really one that you will see very often, just because the card quality overall in Quintessential Quintuplets has just shot up so much that, honestly, there's not too much room for some of these more fun and interesting cards. That being said, out of the 5 box toppers, in my opinion, the one that is the best that would potentially see play is probably the Yotsuba level 1. So if we don't pull it in our second box, then we'll go ahead and just take a look at that in a bit. But without further ado, let's get right into our first pack for Quintessential Quintuplets movie. I'm really excited to talk about some of the super strong cards that we have in this set. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first, just going over some of the trends as far as the 5 decks go. They're still pretty much all using their 8 climax lineups that they have in the previous sets. So Nino is still going for an 8 standby deck, Ichika is still 8 choice, Miku 8 pants, Yotsuba 8 gold bar, and Itsuki 8 door. So we're going to be expanding on those a lot in this set, but also with some sub-strategies. So for example, Yotsuba being a very memory-focused deck, and Miku going further into the marker strategies. So for the first common that I want to talk about, this one right here, this Forever as 5 that has all 5 of them on it. So this is a card that has seen a bit of use in Nino builds as an extra discard outlet in the early game, and just being a pretty solid card overall. So when this is placed on stage from hand, or when this is sent from stage to waiting room, you can discard a quintuplets character to draw a card. Obviously, for standby decks like Nino, this can be a really important card to get those standby targets into your waiting room. Additionally, when you play this card from hand, if your opponent has exactly one character in the front row and it is a cost 0, you can kill it for free. So this is a really good going second card as well. Yeah, it's just a overall really good card and can go into any of the 5 quintuplets decks because it has all 5 of them on it. Now we are seeing our first foil already, and we have hit one of the 2 OFRs that we are expecting in the case. These OFRs have this beautiful red carpet alternate art, and I think all 5 of the OFRs are the double Rs, some of the double Rs that are available in this set. So this particular Nino is a 3/2 early play. She can be early played if your opponent has a level 3 or higher character. She has 8,500 base power, but she goes up to 2,500 and gains Hand Encore if you have 2 or more other quintuplets characters, which obviously is a very, very easy condition. And as a result, this card is basically just always 11k. And then for her third effect, when she's placed on stage from hand, you can heal 1. Where are my penny sleeves? Hold up. Okay, let's go ahead and throw a sleeve on this card. Okay, let's go ahead and throw a sleeve on this card. Definitely a very beautiful card. I think all of these red carpet arts for the OFRs are very, very beautiful. And the dresses that they have on the girls also very beautiful as well. So let's go ahead and put our OFR off to the side and take a look at some of the other cards that we have. Let's see, uncommons. Here's an uncommon that I'm a big fan of, which is the level 0 Miku. So this card has the on-play effect of revealing the top card of your deck, and if it is a Quint's character or an event, you can marker it underneath her. And then while she has a marker, she gains plus 2,500 power, bringing her up to 3,500. But she also gains the effect where when she reverses a battle opponent, you salvage a Quint's character from your waiting room and then discard a card. So it allows for some free hand fixing. What's really nice about this card is that if you run this card in your deck, you can actually mulligan a lot more aggressively. Like you can mulligan away things like level 1 combos, knowing that you have the security through this card effect to potentially get those cards back. So this is a pretty nice card, really nice early game profile, 3,500 power. I like this card a lot. For our first rare, we have level 0 Yotsuba. So as I mentioned, Yotsuba goes into that memory strategy, and like also as I mentioned, Miku going into the marker strategy. This Yotsuba is a card that you would think was in a set like Saikano. It plays a lot like the level 0 rarity. So when this is reversed in battle, you can pay 1, discard a card, and then put this card into memory, and then you get to salvage a Yotsuba. And then her other effect is when she's placed on stage from hand, you mill 2, and then count the number of Yotsubas or a specific event for Yotsuba. And she gains 1,000 power for each of those cards milled until the end of the turn. So she can swing for 3,500, potentially, if you mill 2 Yotsubas or the event. And you can swing over your opponent's characters, and then you get to use her on reverse effect when they eventually run her over in order to fix your hand a bit. And the fact that her on-play mill can set up your waiting room for that on-reverse salvage is really nice as well. So this is one of the new cards that Yotsuba can play in order to generate some memory for some of the strategies that we have later on in the deck, because there are some new Yotsuba cards that require a specific number of cards in memory, and so you will want to be building a lot of memory in order to make the most use out of those effects. All right, for next common, we have the 3/4 Nino event. So this is a heal counter. You need 5 Ninos on stage in order to use it. So if you're playing a mono Nino deck, you just need to, have a full board. And you choose up to 2 characters with Nino in their name from your clock, and you heal to hand, and then you put them into memory. So kind of a steep cost, being a 3/4 event, but if you're able to use this to keep yourself from losing the game, then it can be a really powerful part of a Nino strategy. I've seen some people run this card as like just a one-of, just to have a chance to have a heal 2 in the late game. If you run more than 1 copy, it does have a tendency to clog your hand up a bit. So, but yeah, this is a pretty neat card overall, and a really nice addition to Nino decks. Okay, here we have the level 0 Brainstorm with all 5 of the Quints. So if you guys have been keeping track of the competitive scene, the recent prize card for Bushiroad Rumble Online actually has this level 0 Brainstorm's Climax as the prize card. So this card is actually a really cool card that a couple of my friends have built decks around. So they have a spam Brainstorm, For each climax you hit, you search your deck for a Quint's character and discard a card. And then they have a climax combo with the Stock Soul climax. When you play the climax and you have 2 or more other Quint's characters, you mill 3, count the number of quintuplets characters from among them, and then salvage a character from Waiting Room whose level is equal or lower than that number. So it's kind of like an Operation Tornado kind of effect, but attached to a climax combo. And it can function kind of similarly to the Elizabeth Brainstorm from Seven Deadly Sins, in that you can just camp 2 of these in your back row and just, slam the climax every single turn and just continue getting more and more advantage, as well as just constantly milling through your deck. Now, the difference between this and the Elizabeth, obviously, this one is a spam Brainstorm and Elizabeth is a plus Brainstorm. So this one doesn't generate you quite as much raw advantage as if you were hitting Elizabeth's, but it's still a really nice card overall. And what I really like about this card is because it has all 5 of their names on it, you can use this card with a lot of the really strong waifu utility cards that are available in this set. So, for example, there is a Nino level 0 that is basically like a Reject effect that you can use to search for this. You can also use, there's an Itsuki Riki that you can use to search for this. There's just a lot of really cool cards that you can utilize this with, and it's just a really cool card overall, and I think it opens up a lot of really fun and creative deck building ideas, despite just being a common card. Okay, and we already have our second foil of the box, which is the level 1, I believe. I think this is the level 1. I honestly need to remember the foil climax arts a little bit better, but this is definitely a Yotsuba climax, obviously, and triple R version. Well, I guess we'll find out later on which one of these climaxes are. Hopefully we can pull a Yotsuba double R from this box so we can figure that out. Okay. And then continuing on, we have another level 0 Yotsuba. This one has an ability that lets you rest her to choose one of your characters and give it 500 power and like clock kick, clock Makoto effect. Kind of like the level 0 Itsuki from the first set of Quints. But this one requires a card in memory. So if you're playing a Yotsuba deck that just generates memory easily, then this should not be a problem. But for a general deck, you will probably want to go with the Itsuki level 0 instead, just because you don't have that memory condition. We have a Yotsuba counter. You can pay 1 to search your deck for a Quint's character if you have 2 or more memory. And for our rare, we have one of my favorite cards in the entire set. So we have the level 1 Nino. I love this card so much. It is so much fun to utilize this card. So what this does is, as long as this is on stage, all of your other characters that have Nino in their name gain the Crush effect. So when they attack, you get to look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck and then choose which one you want to keep on top to become your trigger. And this effect is really silly when you combine it with a lot of the other Nino cards in the set, because that effect actually stacks. So for example, or you know what, we'll talk about it later when we pull some more of these Nino cards that give Crush effect. But yeah, this is just a really fun card overall. It just gives you so much control over your triggers and your deck state, because you can just choose how many cards you want to go through. If you want to only look at 1 card and keep a bunch of cards left in your deck, then you can do that. If you want to constantly go through your deck, you can use the Crush effect over and over again to mill through a card every single time. And this card also just lets you fish for standby triggers, or just any triggers. Like if you want to swing for 1, then you could fish for an empty trigger. If you want to swing for 2, you can fish for a soul trigger. If you want to swing for standby, you can fish for that as well. I like to call this card the fishing card, if you guys haven't noticed, but yeah. This card's other effect is when you trigger a standby climax, you get to choose one of your characters and give it 3k power until end of turn, which is even more obnoxious. It gives you just random, unnecessary amounts of power. This card is just really cool overall. One small caveat with this card, though, is that with that second effect, it does say you have to trigger check a climax with standby. So unfortunately, if you trigger a 3-2 Nino while you have the level 3 climax in the climax area, you will not get that 3k boost because you are triggering a character with a standby icon and not a climax. And then for our climax, we have one of the new Itsuki climaxes. All right, so we're just 2 packs in, talking about a ton of cards. There's just so much cool stuff to take a look at in this set. Really passionate about crafting the mono waifu decks with Quintessential Quintuplets. There's just a lot of really cool stuff to look at. Okay, next up we have a level 2 killer for Yotsuba. If you have a card in memory, if you have 2 or more cards in memory, then during your turn she gets plus 2k and plus 6,000 when attacking level 2s, and she also has Hand Encore. So if you're looking to play against decks like Alice, this could be a pretty good card to look into, although it does have that memory condition, so it really only fits into decks that are mostly based around Yotsuba. Okay. And for our next card, we do not have any double R in this pack. Here we have the level 2 Yotsuba event that is referenced on the level 0. So this is a counter. It lets you salvage 2 Yotsubas and then discard a card, and then it sends itself to memory. And then if you want, during any future turn, you can discard a climax in order to grab this back from memory, potentially reuse it again, which is really nice in Yotsuba decks where you have a lot of gold bar climaxes, so you will often have climaxes in your hand to discard for that effect to get this back. We have the level 3 Nino combo. This is a new standby combo that allows her to stand herself by sacking the climax. And additionally, when you use that effect, all of your characters gain the Crush effect until the end of the turn. Additionally, she is a global 1500, not to herself. She only gives 1500 to other quintuplets characters. But if you stand by her out to back row the normal way, and then you can give 1500 to your entire front row and then push her into the front row as well. That being said, a lot of people still like using the level 3 Nino combo from set 2. Obviously, that card is a very strong finisher, and so this card doesn't really see a whole lot of play. Ooh, here we see a very powerful rare card for Yotsuba. So this is an early play heal. If you have 4 or more Yotsubas on stage, she has discard 1 heal to stock, and during your turn, if you have 3 or more Yotsubas in memory, she gets plus 2,500 power during your turn and gains on reverse optional memory kick. So she can attack for 11-5 on offense, which is, I don't have to tell you, that's extremely strong. And in any other set, this probably would have been like an 8,500 power character that goes up to 11k, but doesn't have the memory condition. So the fact that this card has a memory condition allows it to be 500 more power, but honestly, with as low as a memory condition, as low as a condition as memory is in Yotsuba decks, this should be a very easy power condition to fulfill, and that makes this a very powerful Yotsuba card to play in Yotsuba decks. Okay, all right. Now let's get on to some of the Ichika cards, because Ichika, man, I read some of these Ichika cards that are in this set, and like these cards should not have this much text. This card is a cigarettes, and you get to top check to rearrange, and you potentially bounce one of your opponent's characters. So what this card does is a 1-0 event. You need an Ichika to play it. Oh no. If you're playing an Ichika deck, you're going to have an Ichika on stage. So you mill 2, add up the levels, and then salvage a character with Ichika in the name, whose level is equal or lower than the sum of levels. Then you get to top check to rearrange, and then if the if the character that you salvaged was a level 3 or higher card, then you can bounce one of your opponent's characters. So this card just does so much in one card, and it's kind of ridiculous. And this is definitely not the last time we're going to be talking about a ridiculously overspec card in this box opening, because just with how many times they reference individual names in this set, they are just able to make these cards so much more powerful than they need to be. And it's kind of ridiculous. And so that's why some of the waifu builds are actually some of the top contenders for like actual just straight up builds in Quints 3. Next up, we have this 1-1 Ichika. So if all of your characters are Ichikas, she gets plus 1,500 going up to 6-5, and she gains Twin Drive and Hand Encore. And when you trigger check a choice climax, you get to give her 3k power until end of turn. This one, not really as much of a popular option in Ichika decks, but definitely an option nonetheless. The Hand Encore is a pretty nice part of this card, lets you just reuse this card over and over again, despite it being a 1-cost character. Okay, let's see what else we have. We have for our third foil already, so we have all 3 foils on the left side of the box. We have the level 1 Miku. So she has Hand Encore, and then when one of your other Quints characters attacks, she gets plus 500 power times the number of your other Quints characters until end of turn. So this is basically just like Glinda from Ruby, if you guys are familiar with that card. But yeah, so there we have our 3 foils. Of course, have our beautiful Nino OFR as well. Let us know down in the comments if you guys are Nino gang. I'm sure that's a lot of you guys. Nino is such a popular girl, especially among the Western audience. Okay, we have a Miku level 3, and for our rare we have, oh sorry, that's not a rare. I should even know that's not a rare because we've been playing a bit of a low rarity format later amongst my friend, or recently amongst my friends, and one of my friends uses this card. So this card is a 1/0 choice combo that is basically the same as the Yukina level 1 from the recent Bang Dream 5th anniversary set. So during your turn, she gets plus 2,000 power, and then climax combo with choice. On reverse, you can discard a card to search 2 Quint's characters. So yeah, basically the same combo. It's a pretty nice consideration. The fact that it is on reverse makes it a little bit hard to resolve, especially in the current format when you have decks like Alice running around and they're really high power. So not the most popular choice, but definitely one of the options nonetheless. And for our rare, we have another Yotsuba memory card. So when this card is reversed in battle, you can clock a card from hand and put this into memory, and then you get to search your deck for a Yotsuba and add it to hand. And then while this is in memory, all of your level 3 Yotsuba combo from this set get 500 power continuously. So if you put a couple of these in memory, then those Yotsubas can get pretty big. So between these two, I think you should definitely be running both of these cards in your Yotsuba deck just to build memory and hand fix towards your mid game. Both really nice cards. Okay, we're only 4 packs in? Jesus. All right, let's take a look at some more cards. We have a 1/1 anti-change bomb for Nino. And for our first double R of the box, we have the level 3 Yotsuba. This is actually the one that is referenced on this level 0. So this Yotsuba has 2 finisher effects. One of them is a climax combo and the other one is not. So this card is even a good play if you aren't able to secure her level 3 climax. And she's also able to have a lot of flexibility in her finisher plays because her 2 effects are separate from each other. So this card is a 3/2/9/5. On play heal, and then she has a continuous effect. If you have 3 or more Quint's characters in memory, this gets plus 1k power continuously, bringing it up to 10/5, and also gains on attack, pay 2, ditch 2, burn 2. So that 10/5 can also go up higher with each copy of the Yotsuba level 0 in your memory. Her actual climax combo is with Gold Bar. Is it with this one? It is not with this one. So this is the level 1 Yotsuba combo. And then the level 3 climax we have not pulled yet. But it's with a Gold Bar. When this attacks, if you have 3 or more Quint's characters in memory, then you can pay 1 to burn 2. So if you're able to get the climax, you could potentially do a pay 3 pitch 2 to burn 2 twice. So that's kind of like Yukina burns, where it's pay 3 ditch 2 burn 2 burn 2, but you don't need to reverse, but it is on attack, so you have to have the stock in advance. That being said, this card is a really powerful card. Being able to just put out a lot of damage output, this is something that Yotsuba has been sorely missing throughout the first couple sets. If you guys have taken a look at our waifu overviews for the last couple sets, both of them have been running the minus soul Yotsuba package and just kind of trying not to die, so it's really nice that Yotsuba gets a finisher in this set. All right. Moving right along, we have a level 1 Itsuki event. This one allows you to salvage an Itsuki and discard a card, and then give one of your Itsukis free encore. That being said, I don't think that this is a really great event to run in your Itsuki decks. I think that the best level 1 combo for Itsuki waifu is still going to be the level 1 combo from the second set, which top checks up to 3 and adds up to 3 characters, or the code name or code word event. And the fact that this is a miss for that event just automatically makes it not a very good consideration, in my opinion. Now, a really good Itsuki card out of this set is this level 2 Itsuki. And so this card, if you have experience 5 or more, then during your turn, this gets plus 5,500 power and gains an on reverse effect. When you reverse a battle opponent with this card, you can send that character to clock and make your opponent heal 1 damage, but not in that order. This is a really strong removal tool, being able to go up to up to 12,500 power before any external boosts and act as hard removal against some sticky characters that you really, really want to get rid of. Additionally, this card's other effect, on play, pay 1, discard 1, search your deck for a climax that has a door trigger icon and add it to hand. So this is really nice security in case you are not able to successfully dig for your climax for your late game. And this is just a really good card to have around as a 1 or 2 of anytime you're playing an 8-door deck. Really, really cool card. And for our rare, this is a card that, this is actually a favorite of a friend of mine, Cody. So if Cody's watching this, shout out to Cody. This one is actually a legacy support card. This references the 1-1, or sorry, the 1-0 Ichika combo from the second set. So that's the one where you get Twin Drive, and at the end of the attack, you reveal the top card of your deck and salvage equal or lower than the level of the revealed card. So this card says, during your turn, all copies of that particular Ichika get an additional 1000 power, and they gain the effect where at the end of the attack, you can look at the top card of your deck and you can either leave it on top or send it to waiting room. So at the end of the attack, before you use the effect that top checks and salvages, you can look at the top card, and if it's not a level you want, you could just send it straight to waiting room. Another thing that this card does that's really cool is that because that level 1 combo has Twin Drive, by looking at the top card of the deck, you can verify if that card is going to be a clean card or not, so that if you do Twin Drive, you can guarantee that the first card that you trigger of that Twin Drive will be a clean card. Additionally, this card is a level assist and also has a really powerful third effect as well, where when any of your characters trigger check a choice climax, you can discard a card and rest this standing card in order to salvage a character. So it acts as free hand fix as well. Just being able to get all of the things you want, and the fact that this particular hand fix is not locked to level like the level 1 combo is, you can grab whatever you want. And also, when you do trigger that choice climax, you can salvage a character that has a choice, or that has a soul trigger icon, and then if you want to discard it to grab something that is a lower level, you can do that as well. So it gives you a ton of flexibility in the level 1 game plan, and it really just makes that level 1 combo a lot stronger overall. I'm a big fan of this card. Okay, so moving on to pack number 6 we're on now. Okay, let's see. We have another character that can gain a backup icon like the level 0 Itsuki runner from the second set of Quints. This one, instead of being a level 0, this one's actually a beat stick. So if you have experience 2 or more, this gets 1000 for each of your other Itsukis during your turn. It allows her to go up to 7500 power, which is pretty nice, but there are a lot of better level 1 options to run in the Itsuki deck, which we'll take a look at in a bit. Here we have a really cool level 1 Miku. So this acts as both a hand fix as well as a buffer. So when this is placed on stage from hand, you can discard a card to reveal the top card of your deck and salvage a Miku with equal or lower level than the revealed card. So it acts as a nice hand fix and top check knowledge. Additionally, when this is placed on stage from hand, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a Miku character or the Nice Idea event, you get to give 2 of your characters and give them 2k power until end of turn, which is a really, really substantial buff to 2 of your lanes. So this is a pretty nice card to consider for your Miku decks as well. And speaking of Miku, we have another Miku as our rare slot. So this is the level 1, it's like a pants support card, as Miku is, of course, an 8 pants deck. So when this is placed on stage from hand, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's an event or Quint's character, you can put it face up underneath her as a marker, again, playing into that marker strategy that Miku has. And during your turn, if there is a marker underneath her, she gets plus 3000 power, going up to 6/5, and when any of your characters trigger checks a pants climax, you can pay 1 to blind stock 1, and then draw 1 card, or you may draw 1 card, and then if you do, you discard a card. So it can act as both a way to pay out pants climaxes on the fly, and then when you add a climax from your waiting room to your hand with the pants climax ability, you can also draw 1 card and discard 1 card to convert it into something else off the top, so that you don't have a bunch of extra climaxes chilling in your hand. So this is a really cool card for the Miku deck. It does require hitting a marker off the top, which a lot of Miku cards, just overall, between the second and third sets, they require you to hit markers off the top. And so one core issue with Miku is that once you miss the first top check, that means that all subsequent top checks will also miss, unless you can somehow change the top card of your deck through like a Brainstorm or playing like a headphone event or something like that. So that is something that you will want to watch out for when you're playing Miku. Okay, I think this, if I remember correctly, this one's actually a legacy support card for the level 2 event from the second set, Bell of Vows, if I'm remembering this correctly. So this allows you to play Bell of Vows from your hand without fulfilling color requirements, as that card is a red event, and it also makes them have -1 cost while in your hand, so it allows you to play them as 2/0 events. Additionally, when this is placed on stage from hand, you can discard 1 card to salvage Bell of Vows from your waiting room. And so for those of you who have watched Quintessential Quintuplets movie, you guys pretty much already know the outcome of, you know, the 5 quintuplets vying for Futaro's affection. And let's just say there's a reason that Yotsuba is on this particular card, and there's a reason why her flavor text is Futaro asking her to marry him, you know? Yeah, let's just say the reasons. Okay, moving right along, before we get too lost in the sauce as far as, you know, the spoilers go, we have a level 0 bottom deck bomb for Nino that I have seen run a little bit in when Hololive was really prevalent. It's not as prevalent nowadays with a lot of you know, Alice running around and still a bunch of Quints as well, but bottom deck bombs, still pretty cool cards, and this one also has on play optional mill 3. Okay, let's see what else we got. Here we have a new early play for Miku if you have 2 or less climaxes, and if you have only Mikus on stage, this becomes 11k constantly, and when it's placed on stage from hand, you can bounce one of your opponent's characters and then choose one of your Mikus on stage that does not have a marker and give it a marker from waiting room. So that allows you to give characters extra markers, which is actually important for some of the cards in the Miku deck because they support specifically characters that have markers underneath them. Here we have a new level 2 combo for Itsuki. Again, as I said earlier, the preferred level 1 combo, in my opinion, is still the level 1 from the second set. So this one is an early play level 2 combo, being able to come into play at level 1. I'm not a huge fan of this card just because I think the level 1 combo is just so powerful. So yeah, just not a very big fan of this card overall. This one is able to grab up to 4 cards from the top of your deck if they are Quint's characters or the 1-0 Itsuki event that we saw earlier. But again, level 1 combo I just think is better. All right, here we have a super good card for Yotsuba. So if you guys are familiar with Ramorous from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, or Polka level 1 from Hololive, this is that extremely powerful level 1 profile, but for the Yotsuba deck. And additionally, if you have a card in memory, this also gains an additional 1500 power during your turn, bringing it up to 5500 offense, which is really cool. The caveat of this card being that you can only grab Yotsubas from waiting room with that Ramorous effect, but still, if you're playing a Yotsuba deck, this is a card that you're definitely going to want to put high priority on for your level 1 line, because it not only allows you to get a lot of value, bringing out attackers that you can utilize basically for free, but also being able to build memory, because at the end of the turn, if the character you summoned is still on stage, you get to send it to memory. So really strong card. Okay. Let's finish up the first half of the box. For our last rare of the first half, we have the level 3 Nino, 2k assist to Ninos. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can heal 1, although a lot of the time I feel like you're going to be bringing this out via standby, so that heal won't get used too often. And then her final effect is can only be activated if you only have Ninos on stage. You pay 2 and rest her, and then you actually Icy Tail your opponent for 3. So this is a very interesting card to be a main phase supplementary finisher option, kind of similar to the Ichika changer that we see in current builds of Quintessential Quintuplets. That one has pay 2 rest her to burn 1, and then this one is pay 2 rest herself to Icy Tail 3. So you have a lot of flexibility in those main phase non-climax finisher options if you're running a standby deck. Okay, next we have another really powerful Itsuki card. This one can actually be run in any Quint's deck or a mixed deck. So first of all, she's a drop search. When she's placed on stage from hand, you can pay 1, discard 1 to search your deck for a Quint's character. And experience 2, when she's placed on stage from hand, you get to look at up to 2 cards on top of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, add it to hand without showing your opponent, and it can be an event or climax as well. And then put the rest into waiting room and discard a card. So this is a really great card for just helping you secure things like climaxes, or just, you know, getting through extra cards in the deck. This is just a super strong card. That second effect where you get to look at up to 2 cards, it's just a really strong effect on its own, and it's also tied to a drop search, and it's a level 0, so just a really strong card overall. Okay, let's see what else we got. Here we have... okay, this card, honestly, this card confuses me. So, it's a 3/5 beater, Nino. It says all of your opponent's characters get pay 2 encore. And then this card's effect says, when you trigger a standby, you can pay 1 and sack this in order to choose a Quint's character in your waiting room and salvage it, and then give one of your characters on attack Crush effect. So what confuses me about this card is that when you trigger a standby icon, you have to immediately bring out the standby character before you have a chance to use this effect. And this card's cost is pay 1, sack itself, which would be really great if you could pay 1, sack this card to use the effect and then standby into the empty slot. But instead, you have to sack this card first, or you have to standby out a card and then sack this card. So yeah, order a little bit confusing to me. I'm not a super huge fan of this card. I feel like this card is designed in such a way that you have to like trigger 2 standbys in the same turn in order to make full use out of it. So yeah. But 3/5 beater though, if you're looking for a big beater in Nino, this is a consideration. Although I feel like you would probably be more inclined to run the 3500 center runner from the first set of Quints. All right, for our next double R, we have the level 3 Ichika. So this card is basically 3/2 Alice from Sword Art Online Alicization Volume 1 on crack. So this card says on play, you heal 1 and then climax combo with choice. If you have 2 or more other Quint's characters, you can pay the cost, which is discard 1 card. If you do, this gains the effect until the end of the turn, where when her damage is canceled, you can choose up to X cards from your opponent's waiting room, shuffle them back into your opponent's deck, and then burn your opponent for X, where X is the number of other quintuplets characters you have on stage, which is usually going to be like 3 or 4. Now, what I think is pretty silly is that this card's cost is discard 1, whereas Alice's cost was pay 2, discard 1. So yeah, kind of a huge disparity between those two costs. Overall, this is a pretty good card though. You definitely want to be trying to direct attack with this card because it is an uncancel ability, so the more damage that you can force, the better. You just want this card to have higher damage potential in order to try to force that cancel to utilize that effect. Really nice card overall. It does see play in the set 3 Ichika builds. So be sure to look out for our waifu overview coming soon, where we will be featuring a deck that utilizes this card. Okay, next up we have an interesting level 3 Yotsuba. So this card can be summoned from memory by discarding 2 cards while you're at level 3. And when she is placed on stage from hand or from memory, you get to draw 2, discard 1. So if you summon her from memory, it does cost 2 cards, but you do get 1 card back. So it essentially breaks even and allows you to dig for cards. There are ways to send this card to memory earlier than level 3 so that you can have it prepared for level 3. But additionally, when this card gets reversed, it sends itself to memory so that you can bring it back out again on the following turn. Not a super popular card, as usually at level 3, people are just trying to turbo their resources into multiple instances of this level 3 to get a lot of burns. But definitely a card that you can consider playing nonetheless. Here we have a really good double filter Nino. So this card has on play, discard a Quint's character to draw a card, and also has pay 1, discard a Quint's character to look at up to 4 from the top of your deck, add up to 1 card from among them to your hand, and put the rest in the waiting room. This one is not locked to name, so feel free to put this card in any of your Quint's decks. It's a really strong double filter option. All right, here we have another really strong level 0 Nino card. So when this is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your other Ninos and give it the Crush effect until the end of the turn. And also, you can pay 1, sack this as an act ability to look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Nino from among them, add it to hand, and put the rest into waiting room. So, you remember how Quint's got a restriction list and it had the level 0 Ichika Brainstorm on it, and the level 0 Ichika was a really nice source of mill for the 8 standby deck? Well, now you have this, and this just digs through 5 instead of 4 cards. It doesn't have that Brainstorm effect that the Nino, or that the Ichika had, obviously, but I mean, like, come on, dude. This card is so silly. And it basically just, like, some of the cards that were released in this set, they make it seem like Quint's didn't even have a restriction list in the first place. So instead of the Ichika Brainstorm, you can just run this as a source of major mill. And you also have another card, an Ichika counter that we'll look at later. Or actually, no, I think that's from the old set, I think, that people are running. I'll just have to double check. Maybe we'll pull it later. But there's a minus soul Ichika counter that people are basically running as a replacement to the minus 3 soul event counter that got restricted. All right, now I want to talk about these two cards together because it's just silly. So this card, it gives all of your other Nino characters the Crush effect. This card, when it's placed on stage from hand, you can give one of your Nino characters the Crush effect as well. You have the level 0 from the second set of Quints that when you play a climax, you can bounce that level 0 back to your hand, give one of your characters Crush effect, and they stack. So let me give you just like an example of how the stacking works. So let's say this is my deck. So I attack with one of my characters. Let's say I attack with this Nino. So I activate the first instance of Crush effect. I get to look at 2 cards from the top. I get to choose one of them to put on top and then send the other one to waiting room. So let's say I want to dig for a soul trigger. So neither of these are a soul trigger. I'm going to send one of these to waiting room, put this back on top, and then I activate the second instance of Crush effect. So I'll look at 2. Okay, now I see the soul trigger, so I'm going to leave this one on top, and then I'll trigger this one instead. And as you can see, it also gives you a ton of deck control as well because I just went through 2 cards. Like, you just get so much control over your deck state. And let's say you were already in a really compressed deck state and you just want to verify that the top card of your deck is not a climax. With those Crush effects, it says look at up to 2 cards. So what you can do is you can just look at the top card, and if you decide that you're okay with that one, you just leave it there and you just trigger it. And then you don't have to go through a lot of cards in your deck in order to make the most use out of that Crush effect. Sometimes it's just best used to just verify that the top card of your deck is clean so that you can trigger clean non-climaxes. And just the amount of instances of Crush effect that you can get with the new Nino cards is actually it's just stupid. Like, I have seen like 8 instances of Crush effects across the 3 characters on my opponent's stage at some points. Like, they'll have like a copy of this, they'll have like played one of this, and then they'll have the level 0 that bounces back, and then the level 1 combo that we haven't looked at yet also gains Crush effect as part of a climax combo. Like, it's just ridiculous. And yeah, I'm gonna be playing Nino in English for set 3. It's just too much fun. I just love playing the Nino deck too much. It's just too much fun to play. Okay, here we have a level 0 Itsuki that I think is actually a really strong card, but it doesn't see very much play. So once per turn, when you use an act ability, this gets plus 2,000 times the number of Itsukis in your back row. And then at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is an Itsuki trait, not Itsuki name, if it is an Itsuki name character or the 1/0 event from this set, you get to move this card to back row. So in a sense, those 2 abilities don't quite mesh well together because one of them gains 2,000 times the number of your back row, incentivizing you to have more back row, but the second effect says that you move this to back row. So you need to have an empty back row slot in order to use that. But that, they're just both they're both individually pretty solid effects. Being able to have a back row runner that's essentially just free advantage is really nice. And then later on, you can use this as a 4K beater, which is pretty cool. So I think this card is pretty neat. But there are some really, really cracked Itsuki level 0s that you might want to run over this that are more commonly played in the like meta Itsuki builds. Okay, here we have a level swap for Itsuki, very important for getting that experience requirements because her level 1 combo requires experience 2, her level 3 combo requires experience 6. You do need to be hitting those experience thresholds. Here we have Nice Idea. This is the new event for Miku, and it allows you to salvage a Miku and also give a Miku on stage a marker, or you put this card underneath it as a marker, which again plays into the Miku marker strategies. Okay, here we have a new 1/1 Yotsuba. So when this is placed on stage from hand, I think this sends the 3/2. No, I think this sends the this sends the level 0 Yotsuba to memory, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so when this Yotsuba is placed on stage from hand, when this Yotsuba is placed on stage from hand, you can send 1 copy of this level 0 Yotsuba from your waiting room to memory for free. In addition, she's also a level assist, and when you trigger a gold bar climax, you may draw a card and discard a card. So another great way to filter gold bar climaxes out of your hand, as pretty much every single Yotsuba support ever printed has had on it, I'm pretty sure. All right, here we have for our rare, another level 0 Ichika that has way more text than it should. So this level 0 Ichika has, well, first of all, she's a level 0 Suicider. And then her second effect is when she's sent from stage to waiting room, you can pay 1 and clock an Ichika from your waiting room, top check up to 5, choose up to 1 character with Ichika in its name from among them, add it to hand, send the rest to waiting room, and then if that wasn't enough, you also draw 1, discard 1 after. Like, come on, dude. Like how much text can you put in one effect? Like, these cards are just so overloaded and it's crazy. If you're playing an Ichika deck, I definitely recommend running like 3 to 4 copies of this card. It's such a good plussing level 0. It gives you deck speed. It gives you hand fixing as well with that draw 1, discard 1 effect. And it gives you the ability to fill your waiting room with targets in order to utilize with your level 1 combo, which is a salvage combo, or at least the one that we're going to be showing you guys in our waifu deck overview. It's going to be a salvage combo. And so filling your waiting room with lots of targets for that combo, as well as choices climaxes is really important. All right. What else do we got? This one, oh yeah, this one's pay 1 and send this to memory to look it up to top 4 for a Yotsuba, add it to hand. In addition, you can also rest this to give a Yotsuba 2k. And on play, if you have 2 or more other Yotsubas, you can draw a card, discard a card. So pretty nice filter, and being able to rest this card to give 2k to one of your Yotsubas before sending her off to memory is also really cool. It is a level 1 though, so you're not able to utilize that utility at level 0, which is a bit unfortunate, but still a pretty good card nonetheless. And I did sneak a peek at our next double R, which is, again, one of the insanely silly Nino cards that you can utilize in this set. So, as I just mentioned earlier, the level 1 combo does have Krush attached to her level 1 combo. So, this is a 105k, but don't be deceived, she's not a 5k. If all of your characters are quintuplets traits, she goes up to 6,500 base, and she gains during your turn plus 2,000 power, and she gains hand encore. Like, come on, man. I need to talk to whoever designed these cards, and I need to either congratulate them or just, like, ask them why did they do this. These cards are crazy. Her climax combo with standby, of course, is when you play the standby climax, she gains Krush effect until end of turn for some reason, and also gains on reverse salvage. So this just gives you immense control over your triggers. You get a massive power boost going up to 8,500 power during your turn. Additionally, you get hand encore, so you can use it on future turns. It's just such a ridiculous package. And, this package is considerably weaker into Alice meta just because of how strong Alice is on the defense. But if you're not playing against Alice and you're playing against a deck where you can just like farm their level 1 boards, it's so oppressive because you just have so much control over your deck. You can trigger basically whenever you want, which is, it completely circumvents one of the weaknesses of standby decks, which is, you're playing a standby, you're not getting any global soul. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Guys, if you want to play a standby deck that kind of plays like 1k1, you guys got to try this deck out. It's so much fun. But yeah, when this card first came out in JP, I just remember I kept telling people what this card does, and I would just describe it as like, it's a 5k, except it's a 6-5, except it's an 8-5. Also, it has hand encore. Also, it has Krush effect. Also, it's on reverse salvage. And people were just like, huh? Like, there's just so much on these cards. They're just so crazy. Okay, we need to move on. This level 3 Itsuki is a really strong supplementary finisher option that you can consider for your Itsuki decks. So she's a 3-2. She's basically an 11k if you have experience 6 or more, which you should have for Itsuki decks. When she's placed on stage from hand, she heals 1, and then also on attack, as part of the experience effect, you can pay 3, discard a quintuplets character to burn 2. This card is actually really similar to the Miyuki Shirogane level 3 from Kaguya-sama, set 2 that recently released. They both have an experience 6 requirement. They're both healers. They're both 11k. They both burn. Very similar cards. Yeah, just a really nice supplementary finisher option in case you aren't able to get a ton of copies of your actual level 3 combo. And it's a low rarity card too, so very easy to pick up. Here we have for the rare, we have level 0 Miku. So this card is an on death Rise for Miku names. So on death, you get to reveal up to 3, add a Miku from among them to hand and discard a card. And also when she's placed on stage, you get to reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a Miku character or the Nice Idea event, you get to give a character 1k power. This card kind of falls for the same issue that the marker cards have, where if you miss this effect, you're missing all of your effects. You're missing all the markers unless you can change the top card of your deck. And it's a bit unfortunate that this card has on death Rise instead of on play. If this card was on play, it would give you the ability to change the top card of your deck without having to, minus by like playing over it. So a little bit unfortunate. But still a pretty good card nonetheless for Miku decks. Gives you a little bit of extra mill. All right, let's see what else we got here. Here we have a 3/2 Ichika. This is an interesting card because it gains a ton of power, anti-backup, and twin drive, and it's a healer. But I think that for the Ichika deck, you definitely want to be playing a lot of other level 3s, like the level 3 combo, and then there's also a level 3 early play that you actually can play alongside your level 3 combo. So I don't think there's very much room for this, but it is a pretty nice card nonetheless. Okay, I wasn't crazy. This card is in set 3. We just hadn't pulled it yet. So we have the level 2 Ichika counter. This is a card that people are using as a replacement for the 2/3 event counter, the -3 soul, that got restricted in the Quint's restriction list. So she has a secondary effect apart from her backup where you can pay 1 and sack a Quint's character in order to give one of your opponent's characters -1 soul. So it's not -3, but still -1 soul can do a pretty good job against keeping your opponent from killing you. So basically, with the choice list, it was the level 0 Nino, the level 0 Ichika Brainstorm, and the level 2 counter. And so now you just auto-play the level 0 Nino as people have been doing anyway. You use this level 0 Nino as a replacement for the Ichika Brainstorm, and you use this as a replacement for the -soul counter. And you basically just have all 3 of them back. Kind of. Sort of. It's still really strong. Trust me. All right. Anyways. For our rare, we have the last Quintuplets game event. So this is from that very last scene of the Quintuplets movie where it's the wedding day and the 5 quintuplets are playing the last Quintuplets game where they want to see if Futaro can really tell them apart when they're all dressed the same in their wedding dresses. And at that point in the story, Futaro has, he's gotten so accustomed to the 5 quints and he's been around them for so long and really gotten to know them that he knows exactly who is who. And, a common recurring theme throughout Quintessential Quintuplets, and some people, like I know Mike, kind of has an issue with this, is that, the Quints, they disguise themselves as each other quite a few times throughout the plot of Quints. And that can kind of come across as kind of scummy, depending on their intentions. And, depending on the context, it is kind of a pretty bad thing. Like I kind of have a thing against Ichika for what she did in one of the arcs for Quints, but in this particular instance, this is the wholesome Quintuplets game where you really get to see all 5 of the quintuplets in that last moment before the wedding, and everyone's just happy. And it's a wedding; it's a happy day. All right, let's keep going. We still have 1 double R to pull. Ooh, here we have the level 2 Nino counter. This is a spicy card. So this is a burn counter. You need to have 5 Ninos on board in order to use it, in order to use the burn effect anyway. So in addition to the pay 1 for the backup, you can pay an additional 1 stock and discard a card to burn 2. So if your opponent isn't prepared against this counter, if they aren't watching out for this, they might clock themselves to 3/5, and you can sneak yourself a sneaky victory with this burn counter. So they do have to watch out for that if you're playing against the Nino Waifu Decks. Is definitely a card that I think Nino decks should be running as a nice sneaky option at the end. Okay, and then let's see. Here we have a helmet effect for Miku. So you can discard 1 card and sack her in order to salvage a Miku. And she also has an on-play ability where you can choose one of your Mikus that doesn't have a marker underneath it, and then you can give it a marker from your waiting room. And so this, like I said earlier, for the 3/2 early play, giving Miku's markers is actually important as it allows them to get power buffs from some of the Miku back rows that are in this set, which, by the way, we haven't pulled any of yet, so hopefully we'll be able to take a look at some of those. But yeah, Helmet is always a really nice ability, especially in decks that are able to just generate tons and tons of card advantage. So this is just a really nice addition to the Miku deck overall. And here we have another Ichika card that has way too much text on it. So this card has 2 effects. So the first one is when this is placed on stage from hand, if you have another Ichika character on stage, you can top check to rearrange. And the other effect is when she's placed on stage from hand, you can discard a card to reveal the top card of your deck and salvage a level X or lower Ichika character. And yeah, these two effects, if they were like not locked to Ichika, they would result in a card that has 0 power. It would not be allowed to exist. One of these effects costs normally 1,000 power, and the other one costs 2,000. And this card has 1,500 power. This card is just like, dude. What's really crazy about this card is you use the top check to rearrange, and then you could just verify the level of the top card. And so if you see like a level 3 within your top 2, you just put it on top, you use this effect, you salvage any character you want, and then you just get along with you just get on with your life. And there's another level 3 Ichika that's in this set that is insane when combined with this level 0. So hopefully we'll pull that soon so you guys get to look at that combination as well. It's actually crazy. Some of the stuff that you can do in Ichika decks. Like, some of these Ichika cards, you just read them and you're like, how is this a card? Like, this card literally should not exist. Should be 0 power. Okay. But I digress. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, so we have the double climax pack. And then for our rare, we have level 0 Nino. This card has the Rhodesia effect, where when she's placed on stage from hand, you can clock a card from your hand and then search your deck for any character with Nino in its name and add it to hand. Now, we've seen in Mushoku Tensei, the Rhodesia profile is really strong with the Eris combo because the Rhodesia doesn't cost any stock in order to get that hand fix and search for your level 1 Eris combo. And this level 0 Nino Rhodesia, it follows the exact same principle. When your level 1 combo is a stock costed combo like this level 1 Nino, this Rhodesia profile is really, really strong because you don't have to use any stock on searching it, and you can just use the stock to play it. Additionally, when this card attacks, if you have all Nino characters, you get Crush effect. So, you know, you can never have too much Crush effect on your board, guys. You can never have too much. And so I think that if you're playing a Nino-based deck, or even just like 8 standby with a lot of Nino cards, you need to be running 4 copies of this. It just gives you such great consistency in grabbing that level 1 Nino from your deck. Additionally, it can also boost you to level 1 in order to start playing your level 1 cards earlier than expected, just like you would with a Ricky-like profile. Okay. Ooh, here's another super strong uncommon Itsuki that I play in the 8-door deck. So when this is placed on stage from hand, you can discard a card to search your deck for a copy of the level 1 Itsuki combo from set 2. Just rip it straight out of your deck and it secures you 1 copy of your combo. And when this is, as an act ability, you can pay 1 and sack this to mill 2, choose a level X or lower character from among them. Or not among them. Choose a level X or lower character from your waiting room and add it to your hand, where X is the sum of the 2 milled cards level. Sorry, I'm like stumbling a little bit. But yeah, you basically do like a cigarettes effect by paying 1 and sacking this. Now, I really like that this card is able to just secure you a copy of the level 1 combo from your deck. But honestly, the second ability, I kind of overrated it a little. When I first saw it, in my head, I just saw this effect as just being able to, you know, get a ton of level 1 combos. Just like, you know, you play it, you grab one from your deck, you pay 1, and you can salvage another one. But honestly, I just find myself using this more for just grabbing level 0 back row utility, because I feel like you really need to have specific back row setups in the Itsuki decks. Otherwise, you can't really get the ball rolling super hard. You really need to get like your level 0, the new back row from this set. Yeah, honestly, just it's a really good card. It's not nearly as cracked as I thought it was at first, but still a good card nonetheless. Also, the foil for this card is really cute. Itsuki's like eating a burger on the foil. Okay, here we go. Here's the stupid broken early play for Ichika that combos really well with this level 0. All right, so this Ichika can be early played while you have 4 or more Ichikas on stage, which, you know, if you're playing an Ichika Waifu deck, you're going to have only Ichikas. On play, you can discard a card to salvage a climax that has choice trigger. Seems good, right? You can discard a card, you can get your climax. Also, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card has an Ichika, if that card is an Ichika, you get to add it to your hand. So it's a +1. And you know how to verify the top card of your deck? This thing. This card, top check 2 rearrange. You see a level 3 on top. Okay, discard 1, salvage this. Early play this, salvage choice climax. And also add the top card of your deck to your hand. Like, it's such a ridiculous combination of effects. And also, when this attacks, if you have 4 or more other Ichika on stage, this gets 3,000 power, or you give 3,000 power to one of your characters until end of turn, which is silly because her early play condition is just having 4 Ichikas. Like, bro, everything just flows together way better than it should. It's just crazy. All right, let's get into our final pack. We still have one double R left to go. We have pulled Yotsuba, Ichika, and Nino so far. Let's see if we can pull one of the other 2 quintuplets that we haven't pulled yet. It is blue, so I believe it's a Miku. And we have the Miku level 1 combo. So let's go ahead and just finish the rest of this pack first. So we have the level 3 Itsuki as our rare. We'll go ahead and talk about that in a sec. This level 1 Miku double R is a new level 1 combo, but I think that the best level 1 combo is still the set 1 combo that grabs headphones events. So this particular Miku, when she's placed on stage from hand, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's an event or quintuplets character, you can put it underneath her as a marker face up. When she attacks, if she has a marker, she gets plus 3,000 power until end of turn, which with climax would let her attack for a really solid 8,000 power. Her climax combo activates with, of course, pants. When you play the climax, if she's in your front row, you can choose a level X or lower character from your waiting room, and you can add it to your hand. And X equals the number of markers that are underneath all of your characters. So if you have at least 3 markers, it allows you to salvage any level character from your waiting room. My biggest issue with this card is that it, unlike the level 1 from the first set, this one doesn't directly contribute to your deck speed. The level 1 combo from first set can grab the headphones event from set 2, which is a top check up to 5, add a character from your hand to from those cards to your hand, send the rest to waiting room, and then also top check top or bottom. That not only contributes to your deck speed, it also contributes to changing the top card of your deck in order to make sure that you're hitting your markers. It also has the top check top or bottom that allows you to verify. That's basically what I meant. But yeah, I just don't think that this Miku is the best choice compared to that level 1 combo from the first set. But it's still a pretty nice combo. We may or may not have a deck that's featuring this card later on down the line. Maybe not in the Quints block, but we have something spicy that involves this card, so keep on the lookout for that. And finally, for our rare, we have the level 3 Itsuki. This is an early play if you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room. On play, you can discard an Itsuki in order to heal the top card of your clock to hand. And then also, once per turn, when you use an act ability, she gains plus X power until end of turn, where X is the number of other Itsukis you have on stage times 500. So she can get up to 2,000 extra power. When you are playing this card, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to clock a card that you know you're going to want to have later in your hand. Like, for example, you clock a level 3 Itsuki combo that you know you're going to want to have back in your hand anyway, and then you can play this Itsuki, discard the worst Itsuki in your hand, and then heal that card back to your hand. So a really nice early play. But also just contributes to the experience condition that you're going to want to have when you're playing your Itsuki decks. All right, that's our first box. We've been going on for a long time. Obviously, I have a lot to talk about with this set. There's just so much fun cards, so much ridiculous card quality in the set, and I just wanted to talk about it. So, anyways, that's our first box. We still have a second box left to go, so we're going to go ahead and clean up and then come back with that second box in just a sec. All right, guys, here we go. Box number 2. So we pulled an OFR from our first box. I wonder if we can pull something really good from the second box. I don't think we've ever had an opening on this channel where we've pulled 2 high rarity cards in the same opening. Let's see if this can be the first. So, we've got 3 high rarity cards left in the case because we pulled one of the 2 OFRs and we still have a Hanayome rare and an SSP left. We pulled the Itsuki promo yet again. So as I was mentioning earlier, I think that the best promo from playability standpoint is probably the Yotsuba. She is a 104k, and then on attack, I think if you have 4 or more hands, she gets plus 3k power, and she's also a tap 2 Brainstorm. So because she's tap 2, you can actually use her as an attacker and rest your back row in order to use that Brainstorm ability. But more importantly, she is a salvage Brainstorm, which Yotsuba Waifu doesn't have access to. Yotsuba only has a search Brainstorm from the first set up until this point. So it's a pretty nice option to have a salvage Brainstorm as well. Let's get right into our first pack of the second box. All right, we've already gone through most of the low rarity cards that I want to talk about. Okay, for our first double R, we have the 1/1 Nino once again. We have the level 1 Yotsuba Ramorous. Okay, one climax that I didn't talk about earlier is the level 0 Stock Soul. Level 0 Stock Soul Brainstorm climax. So this is the card that is the prize card, or was the prize card for the recent Bushiroad Rumble Online. Although the BRO prize card uses the foil art. So, and here we have the non-foil art. Okay. Oh, we have our first foil. We have an SR version of the level 1 Ichika combo. The new one that is basically Yukina level 1. There's some really nice alt arts in this set, and this Ichika is no exception. Come on, let's go. I think this is from one of her commercials that she was doing. Here we have the normal version of the level 1 Ichika combo. For our rare, we have our first Futaro card. This is an alarm where if you have 4 or more quintuplets characters at the start of your climax phase, you draw up to 2 cards and discard 2 cards, and it's also a backup. The biggest problem with Futaro cards is that they're not Quint's trait, so they miss on a lot of things, such as like you can't grab them off of search Brainstorms, you can't grab them off of like pay 1, sack top 4, add a Quint's character. And that is a little bit problematic when trying to play like the Exodia builds, because Futaro is of course an important card in that build, and you can't grab him because he's not a Quint's character. All right. For our next rare, we have the level 0 Yotsuba. Five commons in this one. For our rare, ooh, okay, here's another really strong Itsuki back row. So I think that this is probably the most important back row for Itsuki decks as of set 3. This card has 2 effects. The first one is, it has 3 effects. It has 2 effects that are act abilities. So the first one is you can rest her, and then if you have experience 3 or more, you get to give one of your characters plus 2k power until end of turn. What's really neat about this effect is that you can actually rest this at level 0, even though it won't do anything, it won't give any power, but it still counts as using an act ability. So if you have an effect that requires you to use act, this will still work even at level 0. Her second act ability is you can pay 1 rest her in order to choose one of your characters and give it on reverse salvage until end of turn. And so that just gives you some really nice selectivity, especially when you're playing the Itsuki combo, which doesn't give you any selectivity because it just gives you random cards off of the top. The last effect of this card is that you continuously get +1 hand size, just like the level 0 Brainstorm from set 2. So if you have one of each of those in your back row, or if you have like 2 copies of this, you can have a 9 card hand at the end of your turn and not have to discard anything for overhand, which is really, really strong. I think that this card is actually more important than Brainstorms in the Itsuki decks. Just having access to that guaranteed card advantage through the on reverse salvage is super important and just allows you to set up your plays for future turns. And of course, the Act 2000 power is also super impactful as well, being able to beat over your opponent's stronger characters. Okay. All right, here we have, for another double R, we have a level 3 Ichika. Am I just going to pull the same 4 double Rs like I did in Saikano? Please don't let me pull the same 4 double Rs again. Ooh, another really strong Itsuki card. So this is a Riki for Itsuki. You pay 1 and you clock a character with Itsuki in the card name from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock. This allows you to very easily set up your early game experience conditions, like for your level 3 combo. And you search your deck for a level 1 or lower Itsuki and add it to hand. Additionally, once per turn, when you use an act ability, this gets +1 soul until end of turn. So this goes very well with that level 0 that we just looked at, where you can rest her to give 2000 power, but even if you're at level 0 and you don't have experience requirement met yet, you can still rest her to activate the +1 soul from the Riki. Really, really cool. And just another really good consistency tool, allowing you to grab your level 1 combo or your back row setup for the 8-door deck. All right, no double R here. We have the level 1 Nino again. Double R, double R, double R, no double R. For our rare, we have, ooh, here's a Miku back row that we haven't seen yet. So Miku has 2 back rows in this set. Both of them have all of your other Quint's characters that have a marker get 500 power. So it's a global 500, but only to characters that have markers. This card is a very interesting utility back row. She has the effect where you can pay 1 and put 1 card from your hand face up underneath her as a marker and then rest her. And then you get to salvage a character from your waiting room. Now, this only works if you have... this only works 3 times. Because the effect says if you have 2 or less markers underneath this card. So, basically, you can... the first 2 times you use it will go to 1 markers and then 2 markers. And then the third time you use it, you will have 2 or less markers. Or actually, wait, no. No, this only works twice. Because... yeah, this only works twice because you have to put the marker underneath her as cost. Okay, my bad. Okay, that's kind of weird. Okay, so anyways, this card basically acts as 2 drop salvages while also being a global 5, and then she also can change into your level 3 using her third effect. If your level is 3 or higher, you can pay 1 and rest this to choose a copy of the level 3 combo from underneath her and change into it, and then put all of the markers, as well as herself, underneath that Miku. And you need markers underneath your cards for the Miku level 3 finisher as well. So basically, one of the cards that you're going to want to be putting underneath this card for the cost of the effect is going to be that level 3, so that you can eventually change into it. Okay. Oh my god, please stop. Okay, so we pulled another duplicate double R, which is the level 1 Miku. For our rare, we have the level 0 Yotsuba. Goes to memory. Alright. We have a foil by the looks of it. We have the level 1 Itsuki that gains a bunch of power on your turn and can also act as a counter. This is a really nice alt art. Okay, come on. Can I get the sleeve to open? There we go. All right, there's our next alt art from this box. For our rare, we have the level 1 Ichika support. No rare here, or no double R here. We have the broken level 3 Ichika early play. Okay. And then we have the Yotsuba early play. Oh. You're joking. We're really doing this again, aren't we? We're really doing this again. Why are my boxes lately like this? Alright. We have a chance for one more double R. We could potentially pull a high rarity card as well. That looks like it's our last foil. And it is just a third SR. It is the level 0 Nino 3500 beater that I said earlier confuses me. So here we go. There's our third foil for the second box. Unfortunately, not able to pull double high rarity, but still that OFR very nice. Ooh, okay, here's a really good Itsuki card that we didn't pull in our first box either. This is it's basically Mel from Hololive, if you guys are familiar with that card. Once per turn when you use an act, she gains the effect where on attack you reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is level 1 or higher, you get to put it into stock. And then also, when you use an act ability, she gains X power until end of turn, where X is the number of Itsukis you have on stage, including herself. times 500 until end of turn. And so that allows you to get her up to 7k before any external boosts, like a backup power or like the power from this level 0, which is really, really strong. And so this is definitely a really powerful card in the Itsuki door deck. All right. There is still a possibility of getting a 5th double R, I think. But if not, then we will have pulled the same exact 4 double Rs that we did in the first box, which would be slightly unfortunate, because that would have been 2 box openings in a row that this has happened to me. We pulled the same 4 double Rs in Saikano 2, and we're pulling the same 4 double Rs here. And there's no double R here. Come on, please. Oh, we got the other level 0 Miku back row. So in the Miku deck, you want to be having these 2 cards as your back row. Both of them, as I said earlier, have Global 500 to Quint's characters that have markers, and this one is a Brainstorm where you pay 1 Rester, you Brainstorm 4, and then for each Pants Climax you get to salvage a character. So very simple card, but just solid card nonetheless. And for our final pack, our last pack, we do not have a double R. Unlucky. And for our rare, we have the level 1 Miku pants support. All right, so unfortunately, we pulled the exact same 4 double Rs in both boxes, so we will have to come back with our recap and look at the other 5 of them. We'll have to look at 5 of them because we technically did pull one of the 6 missing double Rs in the form of the level 3 Nino. So we'll take a look at the other 5 double Rs that we missed after this quick cleanup. Okay, guys, we are back for the recap. We have 6 double Rs that we haven't seen. Well, 5 double Rs that we haven't seen yet. First, let's just take a look at the normal art for the level 3 Nino. Here we go. And yeah, so all of the OFR arts have this beautiful red carpet art. And the foil pattern, it's not anything particularly special, but I think it suits these foils really, really well. It just looks really sophisticated, and I think it fits really well with the overall feel of the cards. So the double Rs go into 2 categories in this set. We have the ones that they are in these dresses. So we'll go ahead and separate them by halves. So we have the ones where they are in their black dresses, and then we have the ones that they are just in their usual outfits. So going through them one by one, let's start with the yellow ones. So we have the level 0 Ichika. This is a new Brainstorm. It's a tap self salvage Brainstorm. And then also when you play a climax, you can choose one of your characters and give it Crush effect. So Ichika taking a page out of Nino's book, giving Crush effect to characters. And this is just a pretty solid salvage Brainstorm overall. Both this and the Nino Brainstorm from the first set, both very solid options. Moving into the green combos, the ones that we missed is the level 1 Yotsuba. So this one has a like top check up to like whatever combo, add a character to hand, send the rest to waiting room. But what's really cool about this card is that the more memory you have, the more cards you get to look at. So it's a 1/0/4/5. During your turn, she gets 500 for each of your other quintuplets characters, which with climax would allow her to go up to 7,500 power. And then on attack, with Gold Bar, you look at up to X cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Quint's character from among them, add it to hand, send the rest to waiting room. So it depends on how much memory you have. If you have no memory, she only looks at 3. But it increases by 1 up to 4 cards in memory, where you get to look at 7 cards per copy, which is crazy for deck speed. Obviously, it's still not totally selective, as you still only get to pick a character out of the top 7, but just having access to this much deck speed is really, really nice. And looping this Yotsuba combo is just allows you to go through your deck over and over again, especially with help from the level 1 Ramrus, which allows you to bring this back. So that's one core strategy of the Yotsuba deck, is being able to bring this out over and over again, just like speed racer through your deck. It's really, really fun. Okay. Moving on to red now, we have the level 0 Itsuki. All right, I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. You guys know that I love Itsuki. Itsuki's my favorite. I think this card's trash. I think this card is not great. So this card is a clean cut. When she reverses her battle opponent, you can rest one of your other Quint's characters and move it to back row. And the problem that I have with the card is with her other 2 abilities. So she has act up to once per turn. Or sorry, when you use an act ability once per turn. She gains 2,000 power. And then also as an act ability, you can rest one of your quintuplets characters and give her 1,000 power until end of turn, which would proc her first ability. Now, when you first look at this card, you think like, oh, this card has synergy with itself. You just rest a character, and then you give her 2k and 1k power, and she's a 4,500 clean cut. The issue I have with this card is that it requires you to have a very specific early game hand. What I mean by that is you really want to have 4 level 0s in order to really optimize usage of this card. Clean Cut is a profile that incentivizes aggression. It allows you to attack 3 times very easily because you're able to save one of your characters by moving it to back row. However, being able to field 3 attackers and also have an additional attacker in the back row to rest in order to give this power is kind of unreasonable. And for that reason, I don't think this card is very good. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I will say that the art on this card, especially the OFR, godlike. Oh my god. I need to pick myself up one of the OFRs. Man, it looks so good. Okay. We saw the other 2 red double Rs, the Ninos. We saw both of them already. And then for our second Itsuki double R, we have the 3-2 combo. So this one is an Experience 6 combo, just like the one from set 2. On play, you top check up to 3, add one of them to hand, send the rest to waiting room, and gain 1,500 power until end of turn. And then her climax combo says, on attack, experience 6, you can discard 3, any 3, unlike the set 2 combo where you have to discard 3 characters. You burn your opponent for 3, and then you mocha them for 2. So if you do not find any climaxes within the top 2 when you mocha 2 them, then it is a bit worse than the set 2 combo because that one is just 2 instances of burn. But if you do find a climax within the top 2, then it's essentially treated as like a free burn 1. If you find 2 climaxes in the top 2, you are winning at life. So yeah, this card is just a really solid option overall with the ability to gain tons of hand through having increased hand size on your back row, as well as cards like the level 0 Itsuki that gives your character on reverse salvage. You're able to generate just tons of hand to be able to utilize multiple copies of this combo fairly easily. And it doesn't require any additional stock in order to use the combo, so you can just have 6 stock and play triple. So really strong card. Really nice top end for the Itsuki deck. The final level 3 we have is the level 3 Miku. And actually, I need to grab that level 0 that we looked at earlier in the second box. Where are you? Here we go. All right, so this level 3 says when she's placed on stage from hand or by the act effect of the level 0 Miku changing into her, you get to heal 1. And then climax combo with pants. When you attack, you can pay 1. Then your opponent Icy Tails 4, so they put the bottom 4 cards of their deck into the waiting room. And then you don't count the number of climaxes. You just check to see if there is a climax. And if there is a climax, then you get to burn 1 a certain number of times based on how many markers are on stage. I know that sounds a little bit confusing. If you have 3 or more markers amongst all of the characters on your stage, you get to burn 1 twice. If you do not have 3 or more markers, you get to burn just 1. So basically, just have 3 or more markers and then hit. And then you get to burn 1 twice. Pretty nice card. And then you get to bring it out for a reduced stock cost by bringing it out off of the Miku, because this only requires you paying 1 stock and resting her. You do have to pay 1 to use that utility effect, but you can just treat it as paying for the utility and not paying for the Miku. So pretty nice, and it allows you to use your stock pretty aggressively on other things like Brainstorms when you play the Miku deck. All right, and that is going to sum up the double Rs. We do have a few high rarity cards to show you guys as well. So from some of the other cases that we have opened. So here we have some of the Hanayome rares. The Hanayome rares are actually foil versions of rares in the set, specifically the ones where they are in the wedding dresses. So these 5. So these 5 cards are the ones that can come Hanayome rare. We have the level 0 Yotsuba, which we have here. We have the level 0 Itsuki here. And then we have the level 0 Nino Rhodesia. And we did not pull the Miku and the Ichika, but we'll go ahead and have images of those on screen, hopefully, so you guys can get a good look at those. Those are also very beautiful. And then, of course, we have the superstars of Quintessential Quintuplets, any Quintessential Quintuplet set, which are those beautiful SSP cards. And I think the background design on these with like the flowers, the roses, they all just look so, so good. And so we have the level 3 Miku, which is the level 3 combo. We have the 1/1 Nino combo, and we have the level 3 Yotsuba. So all 5 of these cards can come OFR, and all 5 of these cards can come SSP. I do think that it's also a really nice touch that they are still using the colored signatures that they used previously. They all suit each of the girls really, really well. And yeah, they just look gorgeous. So let us know down in the comments if you guys are excited to open any Quint boxes of your own, or if you have already opened Quint boxes, let us know what you've pulled, if you guys pulled what you want. If you didn't pull what you want, unfortunate. But, you know, just all of these cards just look so, so beautiful. No matter what you pull, I think pretty much any of this is a winner, even if you didn't pull your favorite girl. So, with that being said, that concludes our box opening for Quintessential Quintuplets movie set. I know this has been quite a long one, but I've had just a lot to talk about. This set is a ton of fun, and I just love playing all of these strategies and exploring what each of these Quint's waifu decks has access to and what they're capable of. Thanks for watching, everyone. This has been Randall, aka Shizukats, on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!